The James Show Podcast.
Elon Musk claims Donald Trump is on the Epstein list. That's why the Epstein list hasn't come out yet. Now, is this guy telling the truth and finally dropping a truth bomb? Or is he butthurt about getting kicked out and he's just lashing out at a guy because this is just a clash of two titan egos? I don't know. If this is true, then this is the biggest story of the year. If it's not true, then it's a really irresponsible, sloppy, childish insult and a complete waste of your time. Which way are you leaning? This is a tough one. Does he have a motive to do it that makes sense? Not really. If it is true, why did he wait until now to say it? If it's not true, why would he say it at all and burn the bridge of him ever coming back and making the Doge cut stick? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I would say I'm leaning toward it's not true, or it's true in the fact that, yeah, he's on the flight logs, but he didn't go down to the island. But I'm only about maybe 51, 52%. There is a lot of gray area in this one, and I hope we get more info. We're still waiting for Trump to come out and say something about it, because you would think he's going to have to address this pretty soon. But in the while, let's just talk amongst ourselves. 800-288-9227. Fred, Colorado City, you're on WBAP. Where are you at on this one?
Hey, Jake. Well, I'm going to agree with you that absolutely 100% he was on the flight list. He did go on Lolita Express. Years ago, before he was president, I mean, they always would give you a right. He had a lot of clout, and Trump needed to go to a trip to New York or wherever, and he jumped on the Lolita Express and took a ride. This was all on the internet, like 6 or 7 years ago, and
right. So,
he saw what was going on, and he got off. I think he might have even got off early, but he never got back on again.
Word choice, sir. Word choice, Fred. But yeah, both guys have a residence in Palm Beach and in New York City, and so both of them were taking private jets back and forth, and it sounds like that's a pretty common thing for if you're a billionaire with a private jet and your billionaire friend who usually has private jets too. You just give them rights. Like Taylor Swift was just letting people use her private jet and flying them all over the place because money's no object. And I really hope that's the case. But I'm also prepared that if that man is on the list, if we find out that Donald Trump went to Epstein Island, and we have some pretty hard evidence for it, impeach him. JD Vance, congrats, you're our next president.
Yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, I'm just saying that this information came out years ago, and so I don't know what's going on between Trump and Elon right now, but they're always playing 4D chess and stuff. And sometimes, maybe Tesla's company's image got hurt, and so maybe, they're playing a game here. I don't know.
You're bringing up a good point, because I also checked a couple breaks ago. Tesla stock down 15% today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's a little bit of incentive for him to try and, spread the pain back to Donald Trump. That is an incentive to lie. They could be the ketamine talking, but there's incentives both ways. I really hope we find out definitively what the heck's going on here. Terry in Sherman, you're on WBAP. Go.
My question is, why are we just not hearing about it? Why didn't it not get leaked out during the when he was running for president? Because the Democrats would have jumped all over that.
Okay, well then the question becomes, how do you leak that out if there are people in the elites of both Team Red and Team Blue? How do you leak just Donald Trump without fragging your own side of the aisle?
Well, I mean, that's the Democrats are good at that. They're like, watch what this hand's doing, don't watch what this hand's doing.
Okay, but...
So, I mean, they can throw out more than just Donald Trump's name. They could have thrown out other Republicans or whoever.
All right, but Terry, I think in my head the way this works out is the elites in Team Red and Team Blue are both on the list. They both have clean, unredacted copies of the list. So if one of them only releases a list that has their opponents on it, then the other side can say, well, here's the part you redacted out. All of your elites are on it. So it's a mutually assured destruction scenario we have with this. And I think... I don't know, but I think that's the most probable scenario. There's other possible scenarios, but I think that's the most probable scenario to explain why it wasn't leaked last year. It wasn't leaked when we got it. It wasn't leaked in order to keep him from being president. That's all I got on that one.
Well, I'm just going to sit back and watch and see what happens, and then we'll make our decision after that.
Get your popcorn ready, Terry. Hey, go buy some stock in salt and butter, because popcorn is about to be America's new favorite snack. Kevin in Dallas, you're on WBAP. Where are you at on this Epstein list thing?
Hey, yes, sir. So my theory on this is Elon could be doing this to put distance between him and Trump. He's lost millions, hundreds of millions. That would put him back on their side, save his business. But what you really got me going about is, was this really an assassination? I've sent pictures I think I sent you some pictures of when this first happened, as it's going down. I don't know, there is a photo of the shooter on top of the roof. Okay, so there's no way he could be shot. He's too far down the roof. There's no blood. And so say, for instance, Kennedy's shot. All right, his head come apart. This guy's head clearly did not come apart. There's no blood on this roof with the police standing around and all that good stuff. So what is going on?
Wait, so you think a bullet wasn't fired?
Possible. Possible.
Well, how do you explain Corey Comparatori dying, the guy that actually took a bullet? And there's a hydraulic line on a tractor behind him that it got shot and blown. So there was projectiles flying through the air. But yes, I'm not really pushing back too hard against anything, because this really just kind of upsets the whole table. Like, we were playing checkers and then someone just bumped the table. And they didn't flip it over. They just bumped it and some of the pieces slid over. And now we're trying to remember where everything was and stuff. And we're right to go back, because this does change the narrative of what happened during the election. This does change the narrative. If there are elites on both Team Red and Team Blue that are on that list, what does that make the debate? What does that make the primary process? What does that make the assassination attempt? All of that changes if this turns out to be true. If this turns out to be worst case scenario, there's hard evidence that Trump went to the island. If we ever get that, we do have to go back and revisit the last 18 months, because a lot of that changes. The comments on this are fantastic. Keep them flying in. James at WBAP.com is my email, but I'm getting more messages through Facebook. And this is a Twitter direct message from Seth. He says, Trump pulled Jared Isaacman's nomination to head NASA. Elon and Jared are buddies. This is probably part of it. No, everyone's looking for a motive here. Some people are saying Elon's motive to hurt this guy is pulling all the billions of dollars of government contracts. Because between Tesla, all the EV money that's floating around, I think he got like solar power money too. Didn't he have like a solar city or something to that effect? But also, SpaceX gets billions in government contracts to make trips to the space station or go pick up astronauts that get stranded there by Boeing or put a satellite in orbit. He's been the workhorse that's replaced what used to be handled by NASA, because he does it cheaper and faster, but it's still billions of dollars out of his pocket. So is this just a personal slight and a guy lashing out? I don't know which one's worse, because lying about this would just be pretty dang unethical, immoral, reprehensible, gross. Why? I don't know. 800-288-9227. I usually just come in here with my opinions just nailed to the table, and I can tell you 100% this is where I'm at on this one. On this one, oh man, I am only 51% believing that this is not true. It is not by much. 800-288-9227. Can you blame me? Peter. This is Peter in Cleburne. You're on WBAP. Where are you at on this?
No, it's Skeeter with a SK.
And that's way better. One of my favorite names. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, first off, I want to tell you I'm offended by the way you refer to us Skeeters. I'll have you know I have a proper third grade education.
Right. Do you have a Skeeter bass boat?
No, I have a Kenner bass boat.
I was so close. Anyway, keep going. Now that you've given yourself so much credibility here, I'm interested to hear what Skeeter and Cleburne thinks.
I am certainly not trying to do that. Now, take it from a billionaire's point of view. I may be just a good old boy from Johnson County, but I've been to a lot of parties in my days, and I've given a lot of people rides to a lot of parties. And I may have showed up at a few of those parties and not necessarily agreed with what was going on. So either left or separated myself from what I didn't agree with. And depending on time frames, you have to look at things with perspective. And if Trump's name is on the list, well, let's look at it. Had Epstein gone full-blown perv? Or, of course, it may be that Elon's a little tail hurt and lashing out.
Yeah,
you have to look at it.
Let's go down that road because
billionaire.
Right. So it would manifest itself in the flight logs in different ways. If he does go to a party and think, "Hey, man, this is not my bag. This is not my scene. I need to get out of here," then he might show up on the logs to Lolita Island, the Epstein Island, once. If he does it like 5 times, we know he's probably down with what's going on there. And that's the same thing for like the Bill Clintons and the Bill Gates and whoever else is on these Epstein lists. Okay, maybe we will allow a little bit of a nuance and a grace if you were only there once and you never went again. But there could be definitive evidence of someone going over and over and over to Epstein Island. It's kind of hard to excuse that, but also the nature of it being an island. Like, why would you go there not knowing what's about to happen? It's not something you can accidentally pull up to or just swing by, or you're giving someone a ride. It seems like it has to be a pretty deliberate act.
Well, deliberation, and again, look at it from a billionaire standpoint. You jump on a plane, you'll take a ride.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a get together going on. No,
you're making good point. Right, for me and you.
I look at giving somebody a ride to the,
that's a solid point. I'm agreeing with you, Peter, because you and I, we don't casually just hop on a plane and go somewhere. It has to be a very deliberate act for me to be flying in a metal tube at 300 miles an hour. But for these guys, this is just how they get from point A to point B, and it's okay.
Exactly.
Okay, good stuff. No, it's a good addition. I'm just out of time. That's Skeeter and Cleburne. So, don't worry, we're going to continue talking about this the rest of the show and probably a good chunk of tomorrow, unless something else crazy happens. But Elon Musk has claimed on Twitter that Trump is on the Epstein list. Is that true, or is that the ketamine talking? I don't think but a handful of people on this planet actually know the truth yet, but somebody does. Somebody knows the truth. So, if it's true, I'm already thinking impeach him. If it's not true, Elon Musk really did him dirty and probably needs to get some mental help. If it's true, I mean, we're in the Matrix, aren't we? We're all plugged in to a pod right now. You have a cord going into the back of your head, and this is all a simulation, and we're just being used to generate electricity for the robots. 800-288-9227. That's my official position on this. We're in the Matrix, by the way. This is Kim in Granbury. You're on WBAP. How are you processing this information, Kim?
I just think Elon just threw something out there. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There was no way he'd be privy to that list. And if you think Donald Trump has ever told him, "Oh, yeah, I've been to the Epstein Island several times," there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. But also, what if he found out because someone slipped it to him? What if he found out because he was digging with his engineers and they got access to a database and it wasn't known that he had accessed it? I doubt Donald Trump would volunteer that information, but I can't tell anybody they're wrong. No one said anything crazy enough that could be crazier than the truth. So I'm not telling anybody they're wrong today, Kim.
Well, and the other thing, the flip side of that, there are some people that know who's on that list. And don't you think the blue team would have put it out there if Trump was on there? They don't care who else goes down. They did not want him to become president. So they would have released that information. It didn't matter who went down on their side.
I mean, it does. What if Biden's on there? What if Hillary's on there? What if,
Biden was already senile. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't care who went down. They did not want him to be president. They did whatever they could to keep him from being. And if he was on that list, they would have made sure that got out, because that would have turned the vote completely. Not necessarily to the laughing hyena, but
that wouldn't benefit Team Blue if they lost Donald Trump, but they also lost Bill Gates, and they also lost Jeff Bezos, and they also lost Mark Zuckerberg, all their financiers. It doesn't just have to be Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton, the actual power brokers that are on the list. It could be the donors and the major influencers and people who are like maybe the guy that's running CNN or MSNBC or any of their platforms. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out, just like you, Kim.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Good stuff. Tina Keller, you're on WBAP. Help me make sense of this.
The real sense of it is it's a list. Anybody can make a list and put Donald Duck's name on it. It's still just a list. Nobody's produced it so we can see it or verify it. And I agree with the previous caller. If Trump's name was on there, he'd have been exposed a long time ago.
Well, look, we were talking about this about an hour ago, and I assume you missed that, because if he is on the list and they don't expose him, now they can control him. Now they have something to hang over him. And in the context of a guy who's been saying we need a balanced budget amendment, we need to cut spending, we need to get rid of the deficit, we need to pay down the debt, for him to support this big, beautiful bill that not only keeps the Biden spending levels going, but actually increases the deficit and the debt above where it would have been, that kind of lends a little credence to someone must have something on this guy.
That is true.
Right. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I could see this going both ways. Why would they let him be president again? Why wouldn't they sink his candidacy last year? And then on the other hand, well, it looks like maybe someone has some leverage over him. And I really don't know which one's correct, Tina. And I think your original point is even more stark than you think, because anyone can make a list and put someone's name on it. You know what? We haven't even seen a fake list or any list or something that was made in Microsoft Word art. We just have the statement of Elon Musk saying he's on this list, and we don't have any more context with that. We don't know if is he just on the flight list because he was flying within America from Palm Beach to New York City, or did he actually go to the island? We don't even know that level of depth yet, Tina. So long ways to go. I mean, you made some great points. Let's go to Josh in Everman. You're on WBAP. Your thoughts on the Epstein list accusation?
Called in at the end of January, early February, when that woman said, "Hey, I'm going to release this tomorrow." And
Pam Bondi.
Hey, what happened? And then I was like, she's not going to release it because Donald Trump's on there, right? And she can't release that information. And I totally think he's on there, and I think he's buddies with Epstein. There's pictures with him and Epstein. And I think he's on there. And I also think that Elon Musk could have got that information from his Doge, because he's got access to all the government records now, all the spending and all that stuff. So I'm pretty sure he got it through that. And then I think now he's using it as blackmail. I guess you'd call it blackmail, because Trump's like, "Hey, we're going to cut all your funding for all your Tesla stuff, all your big spending and stuff." And he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, actually, you're on the list, buddy. Remember that?" So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it would be blackmail if it's not public. He might have been blackmailing it, and when it didn't work out, he had to deliver on the threat. But man, I have nothing to argue with. You really called back a few months ago, and we're on the record saying that. That's good stuff. I'm glad you remember that.
Yep, I remember. I listen to you almost every day after work. So,
my goodness,
I do remember that. And I finally got a call in, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, I want to talk about Epstein again." So here you are. So yeah.
Oh, well, if he's going to be that nice, Josh gets 3 points. That's a good field goal. Garrett, put him on the board. Garrett got him. Okay, you're on the board. Let's see how many people we can talk to here. Andy in Burleson, you're next up on WBAP. Go.
Yes, the lady who committed suicide or died here recently, one of the ladies...
Virginia Guffrey.
Okay, the Democrats are going to pin that on Trump or his cohorts. In addition to collateral damage, Bongino, Bondi, and Patel, they'll have to go because they probably knew it. And Democrats are just drooling right now.
Well, Bongino and Patel were asked about that, 3 weeks ago? And they gave kind of like a hostage letter answer, like, we can promise he did kill himself and we have evidence to prove it and we will be releasing the camera footage coming up. And it's not that I know Bongino and we're buddies and we go back all the way to high school, but he really does seem like an average guy who wouldn't hide that from us if he got his hands on the list. And so, I have skepticism, but I can't say anyone's right or wrong. It just would be super disappointing if Bongino didn't get the list out because he was covering for Trump. Wouldn't that just break your heart a little bit, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. But the Dems, they'll be digging, no doubt about that.
Okay. Well, and for those of you who need the context, Virginia Guffrey was a girl who there's pictures of her with Epstein when she was underage. And there's the picture. She was the one that was giving Bill Clinton the neck massage when she was like 17, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. And she was the one that is one of the first whistleblowers. Yes, I was at the island. Yes, this is what went on. Yes, there was big, important people that you've all heard of, millionaires and people in positions of power and heads of state. And wasn't she the one that took Prince Andrew down? Or I don't know. I don't remember that level of depth off the top of my head. But yeah, she died mysteriously like a month ago at age 41, if I remember correctly. I got to stop drinking so much. Adam in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP. Go.
Yeah, hi. I was actually thinking about everything that was said so far, and I haven't heard yet the political angle because, Trump has always faced a lot of backlash from a lot of Democrats who are stuck in the mud on party lines. But you got to think about it like this. Even though Elon Musk may have sour grapes, Trump is really good at making deals, and his majority in the House and the Senate is slim. And so part of his reason for maybe withholding the list could be a political angle for deal making because there are a lot of heads of states of Democrats on the party on the list as well. Now, whether or not he's actually on the list, I think that's sour grapes. But, if he's using that list to hang it over Democrats' heads to maybe swing some of the more independent Democrats to say, hey, listen, some of your party is on this list. I'm holding the list back as long as I can, but we got to get some stuff done. And it would be not smart for you to vote with your party because when this list comes out, if you voted with some of these power brokers that may or may not be on this list,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like
I'm just kind of running out of time here, so let me address that real quick. I think the more likely scenario is that Republicans are on the list and he's using it to twist their arms because I don't see any Democrats breaking rank. I don't see any Democrats. It looks like they had the meeting. Hey, you want everyone to find out you're on the Epstein list? You better vote with me. I don't see any of them doing that. All of these votes are Democrats in lockstep. I think you would be twisting arms on Team Red, but I think the big evidence against that, I think his arm's more likely to be twisted than him twisting anyone else's arms because this bill is so damn bad. It doesn't cut. It actually expands spending. So no, we didn't. Not only did we not get the Doge cuts in there, we didn't get cuts at all. We got an increase in spending with it. Not only did they continue the Biden level of $2 trillion deficits annually, it's going to get bigger and bigger immediately going forward. And oh my God, I wish I had more time. Come back. We'll do this again. And if you missed the beginning of the show, it's a barn burner. This is a good day for you to go find the James Show podcast. When I get out of here, I'm going to go put it up. But wherever you're already listening to podcasts, we have videos on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter/X and all over social media. So just remember the little old James Show next time you're goofing off on your phone and you want to kill some time. You can kill it with me. And I'll be back to do this tomorrow. If you send an email, I'm going to be compiling them for a segment specifically for emails about the story tomorrow too, james@wbap.com. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show, News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.